This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by All-Star Vacation Homes. And hey, we all want to stay someplace really nice on our next trip to Walt Disney World. We want to have a lot of space, we want to have some great amenities, but we don't want to pay a lot for them. Well, All-Star Vacation Homes is the perfect solution for you. They have got great homes with wonderful amenities, really close to Walt Disney World, and the best part, the price. You're not paying a lot for these. These places are very affordable, and they've got configurations for nearly every family out there. Check them out right now at allstarvacationhomes.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Friday, May 27th, 2011, and this is episode 882 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hodgford with StudioCentral.com, and today's episode is a series of recordings I conducted during Star Wars Weekends 2011. Last week I was able to sit down with two of the celebrities that were in attendance for Star Wars Weekends, and let me tell you, as a Star Wars geek, this was amazing. I was so excited to be able to sit down and talk to these veterans of not only Star Wars Weekends, but also these guys have been in the trenches of creating Star Wars fun and awesomeness for the last couple of years. First, we have Dave Filoni, who's the director of the Clone Wars television series, and Dave, of course, has been coming to Star Wars Weekends for many years. And the other interview following Dave's is James Arnold Taylor, who's the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he has a lot of great voices. Both are very talented and very funny to talk to, so I hope you're going to enjoy this interview. Have fun. Sitting with me is a Star Wars legend, director Dave Filoni. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Hey, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And Dave, you've been... we can talk all about the Clone Wars, which we will.
Okay, whatever you want.
But since we focus on Disney World, I am a huge fan because you've been coming to Star Wars Weekends for many years now.
Yep.
Tell us about your experience at Star Wars Weekends and what you enjoy about the event. What brings you back?
The fans really bring me back. I've known many of them now for 4 years, and I see a lot of the same people every year, which is great. But really, the Disney experience brings me back. There's nothing quite like it, and to have Star Wars with that, I think, is a really special thing. You're not going to get it anywhere else.
Right.
And, I always like to take time on my schedule to come down and do this. It's such a unique thing to see, the characters walking around the park, even, like Kit Fisto and Shakti. Not just Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia,
right.
But you get all 6 Star Wars films at one time here, and that's never been more true than if you've ridden the new Star Wars ride. I mean, it really integrates all 6 feature films in a way that I've never seen before. So it's one big complete story, and I think that's just fantastic.
Yeah, let's talk about Star Tours because you've ridden, obviously. What'd you think of it? I mean, as a Star Wars fan.
Oh, it's awesome. I think you can sit there and say, well, how are they going to make this better? Star Wars is always good, but what are they going to do with the technology? But if you're a Star Wars fan and you come out of that hangar and the ship banks and you suddenly see 3D rendered Star Destroyers.
Right.
That look exact. I mean, you feel like you're 7 years old again. I mean, there's no other way to express it. I mean, and the diehard fans will know what I mean. It is amazing. And I mean, it feels like you're riding a Star Wars movie in a way that, I think surpasses the original in every possible way. It's crystal clear. It's dimensional. It's got little comedic bits in it that feel like the movies. It's just, and with C-3PO, I don't know how many spoilers I can give away, but
that's all right.
C-3PO is involved as a pilot. That just makes you feel like you're on the Millennium Falcon,
right? More
than anything, and it's just fantastic.
What was your favorite scene on the ride? Of the planets you visited?
The planets I saw, it's hard to say. I mean, I really enjoyed the Hoth because I love the walkers.
That's a great one, right?
And you're zipping through there, but I gotta say, the Battle of Coruscant. There's a shot in there where you're falling out of the sky above the battle, right down into the city. You're like, holy, how did they do that? It's really amazing.
Yeah, the Coruscant battle, it really feels like you're in the middle of a battle. Like, it's just the chaos of it, you know what I mean?
Well, the opening of that movie, Revenge of the Sith, I remember I was sitting in the SAG Theater at Skywalker Ranch, just me and the writer first season Clone Wars, Henry Gilroy, just the two of us, to watch Revenge of the Sith a month before it came out.
Wow.
And when it opened up and that battle started, we were like, oh, this is what we want to see. Like, this is amazing. And, that it's part of this ride is just brilliant.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little about the Clone Wars.
Sure.
You're moving into a couple seasons now. It's not a new series anymore.
No, it's not, yeah.
What do you think the legacy of the series is going to be?
Well, I don't know. It's a strange thing George and I have noticed as we've been making this series is that a lot of kids that watch the TV show Clone Wars actually aren't as familiar with the movies.
Right.
The Clone Wars has become a starting point for these kids. So the legacy, I think, will be interesting when we get to 10 years down the line and these kids know Ahsoka Tano and Captain Rex the same way I knew, Han, Luke, and Leia. And I think it's, what I'm hoping is that it just stands over the years as a part of the Star Wars saga. I hope it stands as a TV series that tried very hard to go beyond what people perceive television as. We're just trying to make 22 minutes of a Star Wars film every week for everybody to watch. And I think that's really becoming true this season. Season 4, we're doing these massive battles. It's going to feel more like the Battle of Coruscant when you watch the show. It's going to feel like you're getting, every Friday the value that you see at your local Cineplex, but instead of on the big screen, it's on your TV.
Right.
And I want to be just one of the most cinematic animated television series, if not television series, that's been put on. And those are high goals. I think we've worked hard every year to improve ourselves, and I think you'll see even more of that in season 4.
Right. I mean, how much, as a fan of the series, the original films, when you were a kid and everything, how much does that weigh on you to uphold these? You got obviously a set of standards. If you were just like some directors coming in, like, this is a job, right?
Yeah,
and tomorrow you're going to do something else. I mean, it might be a little different, but I mean, how does that? Like, you got to live up to, like, we were talking about the battle at Hoth. I mean, that's like, that has to be playing in your mind. Like, is this any good? Do you question that? You know what I mean? Like, take us a little through that.
It's very hard. I mean, I think it's a challenge of every filmmaker that wants to do action adventure. Not just the Star Wars films, but the Indiana Jones films, and the bar that they set for action and adventure. And I watched Empire Strikes Back, and every time you're just like, how are we going to do anything that's as good as this? But our big, ace in the hole is George.
Right.
George is with us every step of the way. He's there for every story that gets handed out still comes from George Lucas. And, because he's the one, he's almost like the spirit of Obi-Wan for me as Luke Skywalker. He's just always guiding me and telling me what to do if I have any questions. And, I think that makes it feel so authentically Star Wars. When I've got to show George an episode with Chewbacca in it, he's going to tell me if that feels like Chewbacca or not.
Right.
So I've got that seal of approval, and that's a very important thing for us.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to wrap things up here on an important question. We are at Disney World.
All right.
What is your favorite ride at Disney World?
My favorite ride? Boy, that's a hard one, Right now I'd say it's Star Tours, but that's being quite a homer. Let's see.
If they told you, Dave, let's go ride something right now, what do you think?
Let's go ride something right now. I actually like the dinosaur ride.
Do you really?
I do.
It scares me.
It's terrifying.
It is
That's kind of why I like it. And then I like that, and my wife likes the I can't remember what it's called, Expedition Everest.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That is a really good one.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's hard to pick. There's so many great things to do here every time I come. I love that Mickey's the 3D movie of that.
PhilharMagic?
PhilharMagic is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you ever wanted to see the classic Disney characters rendered in 3D, that was the bar. I mean, it was really incredible. For me, it was quite inspirational making the CG series I'm making.
Right.
And, it's so many great things to do here. You just...
Awesome.
Come for a week. That's the best thing to do and ride Star Tours.
Awesome. Dave, awesome. Thank you for having us. Thank you for being on the show. Appreciate it very much.
My pleasure.
It's my pleasure to have James Arnold Taylor, one of the key actors in the Clone Wars series, Obi-Wan of all.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, yes indeed. Yeah.
Now, I got to ask you.
Yeah,
I want to get into the importance of which is Star Wars weekends.
Yes.
And you've been coming for many years now.
Yeah.
And you and your BFF Ashley Eckstein
yes.
are I'm appending that title.
Yes, no, absolutely.
Are hosting this year. Now tell me about the weight of that. Hosting Star Wars weekends.
Well, first off, it's like such an honor and a thrill to be able to do it because we're both Clone Wars actors.
Right.
And this is the first time they've ever actually had a Clone Wars star as the main host. It's always been the Star Wars star.
That's right.
So that's a great honor and a great responsibility and no pressure at all. No, and there's so many things that are going on. We have Anthony Daniels' amazing one-man show that's coming out today. We've got the kickoff of the whole thing. We've also got Ashley shows twice a day,
right?
Which I get to kind of come in and do. Now it's fun because the tables are turned.
Yeah.
Before it was always I was a guest on her thing. Now I get to actually introduce her.
Oh,
so that's the coolest part. But we are such a family on the Clone Wars set.
Right.
It's a great time to be here. And Dave Filoni, who I think you were just interviewing, right?
Yep.
Just a fantastic director, and he makes us all so comfortable. So it's family time here right now.
What's your favorite part of Star Wars weekends?
My favorite part, I think, is getting to see the fans react to getting to see all of the behind-the-scenes things.
Yeah.
That is the coolest part, is for kids to like meet all of us and find out that there's actually people behind those voices in
Right.
the show. And, the cool part is if we do our job right, nobody thinks about that.
Right.
But then when they actually meet us and they see that, that's I think the coolest thing.
What's the most common question you get for Star Wars weekends?
Oh boy, that's a great question. That certainly is not it. But I think there's always questions about, well, what are we going to find out in the next
spoilers.
season? And I just have to say I don't know, because the truth is I don't know.
Yeah.
They keep it from me, but. That is the most common question I get asked within the Star Wars world and within Star Wars weekends. But hopefully the questions will be now. So when is your show again? And when can we go see your show? Because I want everybody to come out at 6 o'clock to the Premiere Theater and see my one-man show.
Absolutely. I mean,
So, yeah.
I saw you last year, I believe. It was you and Ashley, and you were kind of doing a lot of the different voices that you do.
Yeah.
And you did a lot. Let me tell you, my favorite is still Michael J. Fox. You do the Back to the Future thing. I mean, that one is like...
Okay.
I mean, that...
Good. Well, if you come to the show, I do a little recreation of Back to the Future in there. I sneak a little Michael J. Fox in a couple times in the show. But I do about 150 voices throughout the show.
Really?
And within a half hour.
Can you do both Fred Flintstones?
Yes. Yes. Because you have
Alan Reed, who was, nice and smooth, and Bonnie, Wilma. And then you have Henry Corden, who was a little more to the moon, Alice. So I combined both of them, and you get Yabba-Dabba-Doo.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's
Nice.
pretty cool. Yeah.
You do obviously very talented, so it's definitely a show that I'm looking forward to checking out.
Thanks so much.
Now, I'm sure you've written Star Tours.
Yeah, well, you just came from it here. Yeah.
Cool. What'd you think?
I think it's amazing. I love that there's a combination of the old and the stuff that everybody loved, and it's like, if that was gone, I think people would miss it.
Sure.
And then there's these new elements that surprise you. You got these holograms and these things that are just, the technology now has just grown, so they can do so much more with it.
Absolutely.
But also, all the various places you get to go now, and all the little cameos from Darth Vader to Princess Leia and all in between.
Where did you stop? Where are the 2 planets you have?
Hot.
Hot?
So we have
Oh, that's a good one. That's my
so
favorite.
That's very cool.
There's something about when you're zooming in, you see the AT-ATs just shooting, and the
Yeah.
whole battle erupting. I mean, it's...
That is, I think, my all-time... Empire is my all-time favorite, I think, within that, as far as action goes and stuff. And so to be in that environment, you're really in it. That's
Right.
the coolest thing. And for kids, I just imagine it's just mind-blowing for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let me ask you this. Being on the Clone Wars, and many of the characters, I should say, are new characters that were introduced.
Yeah.
You, however,
Yeah.
have the distinction of being Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that's a lot to live up to. I mean, you're not like, you weren't like, he wasn't some small little character that
Yeah.
they're given a bigger part to. This is Alec Guinness,
Yeah.
and Ewan McGregor, but
Yeah,
Alec
Ewan McGregor,
Guinness,
yeah.
I mean, what does that mean to you, like having to take a responsibility?
It's a great honor. It really is a great honor, and I still actually literally wake up, kind of pinch myself, wow, I'm a part of this. And the crazy thing is being Obi-Wan for the last 8 years or so, I've voiced and acted more Obi-Wan Kenobi than any other actor. So, yet, everybody always, and of course I think of Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan, and Ewan McGregor, who, is who I'm doubling basically in it, and that was my way I started as it. But I try to, again, kind of with Fred Flintstone, I try to pay homage to both of them.
Sure.
I take a little of, Ewan McGregor, and I have a bad feeling about this, and then these aren't the droids we're looking for. Combine both of them into my own Obi-Wan. So
There you go.
And the fans have responded really nicely to that. That's the thing. As Star Wars fans, you'll never find a more happy group.
You could have gone another way with that, but okay.
Yeah, no, a really wonderful group of
Sure.
people, and that are so respectful and caring. So yeah, it's great.
Last question for you.
Yes.
Favorite ride at Disney World?
Oh boy. I like the kids ones. I have a 6-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And I really dug the Toy Story 3D thing.
Midway Mania?
there.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool, huh?
I thought that was just awesome.
Did you let her win?
Yeah. So.
Oh, come on.
No.
Teach her humility.
No, actually, you know what? I lied. No, I was in the one. We were in. There's the 2 and the 2.
Yeah.
And my wife and I were in this side, and then my daughter and our Disney guide were in the other. And so I think they let me win. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, James Arnold Taylor, a pleasure to have you on.
Thank
I
you
really
so
appreciate it.
much.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Absolutely.
That's going to do it for us today. Don't forget this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by All Star Vacation Homes. And you know what? After a long day at Star Wars weekends, or any trip this summer, after a long day of just being out in the parks and it's hot and you're tired and you've been dealing with crowds, well, why not go back to your All Star Vacations as your own private pool? And they might say, Matt, I don't need a private pool. Let me tell you. when you go into a pool and there's some annoying kids in the pool screaming and yelling, and all you want to do is just relax. You just want to be able to sit there and go, but those kids are yelling. Well, guess what? With an All-Star Vacation home, the only annoying kids in the pool are your annoying kids, and at least with them, you can kick them out. So check them out right now at allstarvacationhomes.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, you can visit us online at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.